You know, so in my mind, when I go finesse, I need to be finesse, you know. And another thing about flipping with fluoro over braid in this situation that we're in, and I'm wanting a slow rate of fall out of that bait will fall slower on fluoro than it will on braid. You know, so we're going with the whole finesse mentality in that I'm slowing down my profile, or I'm downsizing my profile, and I'm also slowing down the rate of fall of that bait. Now, I'll get bit, you know, again, with braid or fluoro in this situation, but to make that bait, and I want to fish slower, a lot of times I'll go to fluoro because of that reason. Because it'll make me slow down, because it slows down the rate of fall of the bait. You also, when you're using a lighter bait over a heavy one, it forces you to slow down. And a lot of times that's what gets the bite. It's not necessarily that they're biting a 3/8 over a half. I will fish that 3/8 slower than I will a half because it takes it longer to get back to the bottom. And I have to be a lot easier with it to stay in contact with it. So it just slows down the whole process, you know, because when that bait's on the bottom, that fish can't tell if it weighs 3/8 or it weighs a half or 3/4 or whatever, but it's to make me slow down and fish that bait slower. Anytime those fish are shallow in the spring and that water temperature is not warm, and really just anytime they're shallow in general, because this is the time of the year when they get the shallowest, I like a bait that moves slow. I like a light weight. I think it gives that fish, you know, more time, the bait spends more time suspended, you know, gives them an extra opportunity to look at it. And honestly, I think they get it better, because I think what happens with a heavy weight in that super shallow water, that thing shoots down so fast and they attack it and they're not able to get it because there's not enough water there for them to get it in before it gets to the bottom. I think the hookup ratio is a lot better, you know, using a lighter weight. It's a fluoro flipping jig, it has a 0-degree line tie. I mean, it is the best head design jig Strike King has ever made. I mean, bar none. I mean, it is for coming in and out of cover, it is the best one. The other deal is, because of that line tie, I mean, it's about like using a straight shank hook. You got all the bite. You see what I mean? There's nothing in the way of the hook point. But the big thing is with that 0-degree line tie, it goes in any cover, brush piles, wood. I flip willow trees with it. I mean, it is the most weedless jig I've ever used. And coming to a place soon will be the full-blown hack attack jig with that same head, because we're fixing to revamp the whole deal, because that is the best jig head design I've ever used.